I'm going to give everybody a few minutes before we start, just in case they're gathering a snack or something to get ready for the meeting. So. I am typing in the chat. Shannon Tarkowski is our secretary. And so if you have any flyers or anything that you want to be distributed, she is the person, she is your contact for this group, and she will distribute it. So if you send it to me, Courtney, or Jessica, it will get to Shannon. It'll just be delayed as we have to forward that on to her. Just that way you don't get it from 10 million people in the group when you see a great idea and you know that it is coming from our group. So also, if you received your emails from Shannon and then from Courtney, also she did a little kind of survey. We're trying to just kind of clean up our the folks that are on our email list. And so be sure and respond to Shannon's email. She just wants to know, are you still the person we need to contact? Because a lot of people are moving around in their organizations. We don't want to lose you. You're still welcome to come, but if there's a better fit or someone we need to add also, please let us know. And then also, if you think of a sector or a group that is not connected with us that you think we should reach out to, please let us know. And then also, do you want to do a program and speak? Do you know of somebody else you want to speak to our group? All good information. Any other helpful hints, we'd love to hear it. So I think I'm gonna, that was sort of starting, but I'm actually gonna start the meeting now. That was just kind of a few little things to clear up. We are working on those crazy bylaws. Something that was discovered, if you haven't joined us before, by one of our officers who found a website that the Human Service Council owns, but we don't know how to run or change or do anything. It's from like 2014, 2015. We've contacted past people and they just don't know who had access to it. So there are bylaws on there that were set up for this group. We don't want to change the group to match the bylaws. We want to change the bylaws to match the group, but we're doing it in a legalistic way and following those bylaws to get the changes to the bylaws. So at our last meeting, and then also Courtney sent it out a few days ago, we had the, I'm going to share my screen. We had the bylaws. I want to show you specifically, these are the changes that we suggested. This is just page 2, but these are, can everybody see that wildly yellow scarred up page? Anything in red, these are words that we are adding. Anything crossed out, those are words we are taking away. And anything just plain yellow is just going to be updated with the date. And so the thing we've done is we've removed a treasurer because we don't collect money, and so we don't want anything to do with, we don't really have money. That's kind of goes against everything we're doing. So We don't, we just needed to strike that off of there. We changed everywhere it said board, we're changing it to the word officer. It means the same thing according to this document. The officers were the board, but when they called the officers the board, it got very confusing, and so we just changed the word to officers. And then we took out the mention of press releases and newsletters, because that's not something we wanted to take on, and they evidently didn't continue to do either. And so we just wanted to strike that out of there. It's a lot, sounded like a lot of work for one person or group. And then we made the term limits very clear. And so it came down to the president for 1 year, and then the vice president for 1 year, the secretary for 2 years, and the program coordinator for 2 years. We all have very busy lives, and we don't want somebody to get stuck in a situation and it's really binding them down. But if you felt like you could do a year or two, then we could fit you in there. And the reason that the president is 1 year and the vice president is 1 year is because the vice president automatically is the one that goes to be president. So when you say you'll be a vice president, it's actually a 2-year commitment anyway. This is actually my 3rd year. And so the thought, 4 years is a lot to ask somebody to commit to. So that is why we took that off there. We did ask if you had any requests that any of this be changed, that you let us know before this, but I did want to go over those so that you would know what we were doing. And so if you would I'm going to say that if you would either by hand, which you go to the reactions, and it says, if you go in there, it has raise hand. So you can raise your hand or physically just raise your hand, either one. Those of you who have your cameras off, I'd appreciate your hand raise if you approve those changes. This is so silly, isn't it? It's very silly, and that is, I think, most of us. There's 2 that do not have that. So go ahead and lower your hands, and there's a place to lower your hands. And then, is there anyone who does not approve? And I'm assuming Darla's hand is still up. So those pass, and what we'll do is we'll send out the whole document when it's done. So sorry for that. That took up way too much time, but we want to get those passed and just kind of make them align so that we're following what we started out to do, and just create something that we can move forward with. And so with that, I am going to introduce our speakers today, and I'm very excited. Hannah Johnson is here from the Illinois Art Station. She also runs another group that is, I get so much out of that group. I really appreciate it. It's the Central Illinois Community Educators, CICE for short. So that meets on different days. And so if you're interested in that, I think Hannah could connect you up. And then also she's being joined by Joey, and Joey's last name is Hatch, and Joey is the education coordinator there at the Illinois Art Station. And they're going to tell us all about what's going on at the Art Station and what their plans are going forward. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. And thank you everyone for allowing us to join today. I'm going to quickly share my screen. So what we'll do today, not knowing, hold on one second. Can everyone see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. My window was showing differently. Um, oh goodness. There we are. Okay. Okay, so not knowing everybody's familiarity with Illinois Art Station, we'll go through a brief overview of kind of the foundational roots of our organization. And then, as Michelle mentioned, some of the exciting things that we've done very recently in the end of 2022 and moving forward into 2023. So Illinois Art Station, the mission of Illinois Art Station is to provide children, youth, and their families from all neighborhoods and backgrounds with transformative learning through hands-on experiences in the visual arts. So it's a little bit of a mouthful, but as the picture here specifies, we are nestled in about 3 acres of grounds at the corner of Vernon and Linden Street in Central Normal, just south of Uptown. Noted here, of course, is should you want to continue to keep in touch with us and follow us, you can find more information at our website, illinoisartstation.org, and follow us on social media at ILArtStation. All right, so Illinois Art Station, we have a little bit of a flexible, fluid relationship with our birthday. So going back to 2016 is when the first conversations and visioning happened for Illinois Art Station. These conversations were all happening within the College of Arts and Sciences at ISU. So we actually are an arts organization founded by a developmental psychologist. Our founder, Dr. Laura E. Burke, is a professor emerita of the psychology department at ISU. And she has always been within that field, is world renowned for her textbooks and scholarship in the area of developmental psychology, and was traveling in New York and visited the Children's Art Museum of New York City, and was really inspired and kind of questioned why this was an opportunity that maybe a coastal city could experience and not, something for the Midwest. And so she brought those ideas back home. Obviously, with that ISU connection, those are where the conversations first started. And in 2018, we were established as the Illinois Art Station as part of ISU. This is when we hired our first director, Isra El-Bashir. This is when we started doing public art programming and outreach, including our ITSY Arts programming throughout the community. And we maintained and sustained that. In 2020, February, to be specific, we established ourselves as an independent nonprofit and separated officially from ISU, though we continue a really healthy and robust relationship with the university. So we all know what happened in 2020. So for us, it was a challenging time like any organization, but in some ways there's a silver lining. In that time was when we were building out our physical space. And so we took this opportunity when, the world was less exclusively virtual to continue to connect with our communities and our young artists, but have this entire build out project happening so that we, as things opened up in 2021, we really, for the first time, were opening up. So in September of 2021 is when we opened our physical location on Vernon and Normal. And so, so depending on where you start the timeline, right, 2018 is really the genesis of our outreach programming. But in many ways, we are, 2 to 3 years old when it comes to our nonprofit status and really solidifying ourselves within the nonprofit community here locally. So we are a small team. We have 4 staff, 2 full-time, including myself and Joey. So we're well represented here today in that way. We currently work with 4 students, mostly graduate students through ISU. So again, we are an incubator in a lot of ways for future art educators. And so we often say that we service young artists aged 3 to 18 as our primary demographic, but if you include our college students, right, we're really working with young artists through their early 20s as they prepare for their careers in art education. We do have two boards. We have the board of our organization, Illinois Art Station, and then we also have a foundation board whose president is Dr. Laura E. Burke. And the foundation is invaluable to us at this time as they hold our building and our property. So we have a very close relationship, and it allows us to occupy this beautiful space as our, organization finds our footing, and maybe hopefully one day is the full owners of our property. And then, as I mentioned, one founder, Dr. Laura E. Burke. So pictured here are Joey, myself, our founder, Laura Burke, one of our educators, Jonathan Stein, and one of our graduate assistants, Marissa Inasensi. All right, so just again, some visuals. We are a visual arts organization after all. So a beautiful picture of our building if you are not familiar with it, but I guarantee even folks who don't know the art station know our building. So we like to drum that up as much as possible. Pictured here, again, an evening scene, as well as some young artists on our beautiful balcony space last springtime. All right, and we always like to shout out, artists supporting artists. So Workbench Architects, located in downtown. We are one of their progenies, so we're very happy and pleased to be part of their canon of work here locally. You can picture or see in the top picture, we are in the former residence of Judge John Freeze and his wife, Marilyn. So folks are familiar with John Freeze and Marilyn. They're well known throughout the community, especially for their philanthropy and support of local organizations. When we took on the property, one of our promises to them is that we would be good stewards of the land. So historically, our acreage was the Custer Brothers Nursery, and that dates back all the way to the late 1800s. So there's always been flora and fauna abundant on our grounds, and those are assets that we are committed to preserving and growing and evolving in fun and creative ways. And it offers so much inspiration for our young artists while we're on site at the art station. Here are some inside pics of our two studio spaces, as well as our lobby and creation station area and our overflow gallery space downstairs. So we do have 2 floors of art making spaces available, again, to all of our young artists and families. So a little bit about our work, the who and the why. This is an interesting infographic because it was created actually a number of years ago, and I find that some of the elements that are included in here, including Miller Park, have really only come into full significance very recently. And so it's nice to be able to look at this graphic and see kind of the foresight and the interconnectedness of our community that we know so well. But we are an organization very much committed to social emotional growth and wellness of our young artists. Joey will go into a little bit more detail with that later, but specifically our It's the Arts on Location program is one that we bring into early learning centers, looking specifically at social and emotional regulation, identification, awareness. We obviously are very dedicated to those who love art, to those who need a space for art. And that space, even though, we've spent plenty of time featuring and highlighting our physical location, those spaces are all throughout the community. And so we started as an outreach organization. Still a majority of our programming happens offsite. And so much of that is through community partnerships that we'll speak to again throughout the presentation. Committed to 5 major themes, right? Learning, creativity, dialogue, inclusion and representation, and program evaluation. So not only program evaluation in terms of, what are we doing and what can we do better, but this consistent, again, commitment and integration of research and evaluation of our programs. And so, as I mentioned earlier, what makes Illinois Art Station somewhat unique compared to other like art organizations is the fact that we're founded by a developmental psychologist. And so that really informs our practice and the way that we approach our art making and art instruction with our young artists. but also the kind of the data that we collect throughout. And so there's very specific programs that we've been collecting on, again, since our genesis, and looking to answer some big questions as it comes to, what is the lasting developmental impact of early arts exposure, and how does that manifest in different ways? How does that impact young artists of different ages and backgrounds? And so that's an exciting piece that we're, again, always looking to grow and evolve. And it's something that we're really reliant upon our relationships, right, with experts in the field. So that's through ISU's Department of Psychology and Family and Consumer Sciences, and other organizations interested in answering those same questions. So I want to turn over to Joey, our education coordinator, to speak a little bit to this particular project, which is actually a camp into an exhibit that I think really serves as an excellent case study, or a little microcosm, right, of what we do and how we do it and why we do it.
So this exhibit that we have a slide for you here came as part of a empowerment camp that we did over last summer. We worked with local youth in Bloomington Normal, directly through the Center for Youth and Family Solutions. We had kids that were coming to us from lots of different areas that were in very different parts of their points in their life. And we were looking to bring together a bunch of things and arts and artists that would speak to the kids and help them feel like they could grow through the experience in our building. They spent a week with us. We learned a lot about them, and I hope that they learned a lot from us too. This was one of the fun experiences. We had wanted to paint with them. We were so excited to paint with them, and we had all these different artists that we wanted to talk about with paint, but really what they needed was that time to kind of feel out what paint can do. And we ended up having to go outside, which was good because I didn't ruin our brand new floors. And we had a great time with them, just kind of experiencing these things that they don't get to do other places. We were really trying to listen to the feedback that the kids were giving us. And so that was one of those experiences. Two of the main artists that we wanted to bring to the kids, this first one was Mark Bradford. He is a really interesting artist that's up to all kinds of interesting things. But one of the things that we really wanted to focus on was this artwork called Mithra, that is essentially a giant ship that he built out of old billboards and his process of collage and decollage. We gave the kids stencils, which is what Mark Bradford uses, and we asked them to put things on there with rubbing. So we would put the stencils underneath the paper, and then over the paper we would use oil pastels. And we asked them to put statements in there that they would want to take away. Mark Bradford will do this process, and then he will remove the parts that he doesn't like or doesn't want or he feels that don't belong there. So when we asked them to do this, we expected to get a lot of statements that were kind of similar to what we got there. It says, "I am not annoying." We expected to hear like, "I am annoying," or other things that the kids had heard maybe about themselves, or maybe things that they had said that they wanted to get rid of. And what we actually ended up with was a lot of statements of empowerment. These kids were saying things that made themselves feel built up, which was really wonderful and exciting to be part of. We also looked at the artist Bethany Collins, who has a really beautiful way of erasing parts of text, creating text and then removing parts of it that cause it to be a new statement. So in some places it's called erasure poetry. We had the kids write their artist statements. They all had to choose at least one artwork that they were going to write about. And then we traded them with one another and asked the kids to alter what they had in front of them, so that they were finding the good parts of the statement that also reflected what they felt and kind of uplifting that. And that was also on display inside of the building. So the exhibit itself, here is some of it. We did have enough to do some of the scraping. So that's the artwork that you see on the left. I think originally it had words like hate And we asked the kids to use the same process. We used sandpaper and blocks, and we used scrapers, and we took away those words. We removed the power of them, and we left things like the middle artwork that says, stop disrespecting gay and lesbian people. That was a powerful statement that one of the students had chosen to share, and there was nothing that we would do to remove that or those power from those words. When we have things on exhibit inside of our gallery, we also invite people to participate. So on the far right, you see the prompt. It's talking about what the whole exhibit and what it meant. It was offering materials, and we offered for people to literally glue their artwork onto the board, just like we did to make our statements, just like Mark Bradford. And we did. So this was as the exhibit was being put in, and it did end up getting quite a few artworks from the community, which was exciting too. We love when the community gets to come and participate with us.
Excellent. Yeah, and we'll note too that all of these students, or young artists, I should say, right, had shared, we'll say, traumatic experiences, right, or shared trauma that they were able to, again, explore and unpack and reconcile with through that week. And so, again, being able to collaborate and partner with organizations to address those shared experiences is a really amazing thing. And so that somewhat translates, or transitions, I should say, fairly well into another project that hopefully folks on this call may or may not be familiar with, but we hope that you are. So last summer, we had the opportunity to once again collaborate with Artolution, which is a global nonprofit founded by a Bloomington-born artist, Joel Bergner, and a slew of other community organizations, including Western Avenue Community Center, BCAI, the NAACP Youth Council, City of Bloomington, Bloomington Police, D87, to create another youth mural and performance project. And so this is the blank canvas that we started with, that was so graciously provided by the City of Bloomington, which now looks very, very different if you have seen it on facing Wood Street at the entrance to Miller Park and Miller Park Zoo. And so over the course of 2 weeks, we worked with almost 40 youth artists and a dozen or so officer artists and other community members to create Journey to Hope, which is a mural that was inspired by conversations around creating safe spaces. And so the original inspiration for this project was, how do we bring law enforcement and youth and other community members and mentors together in a safe space to engage in dialogue and engage in creative making together, and share an experience that goes beyond, we'll say, kind of a normative interaction with law enforcement. And so you can imagine that there were trials and tribulations, and that the nature of this program really evolved as we responded to the needs and the thoughts of the community, the young artists we were working with, also the officer artists, right? We were all bringing our own kind of baggage and preconceived notions and needs to the table. But we found that when we centered on this theme of creating safe space, again, that's something that everybody wants, even though those definitions for each other might be different, and that provided a really productive and edifying space for us to create together. And so, again, further images of some of the elements of the mural, as well as the culminating performance. So this was a collaboration, again, between Artolution, dance artists and instructors, as well as BCAI, Cultural Arts and Humanities, to provide the culminating presentation at so I thought that I would share just a very quick video so that we're not speaking on behalf of our artists, but you can enjoy and hear some of the insights of those who participated.
brought us all together, asked us what does a safe space mean. We had community. We had animals like the peacock, because the peacock represents peace. We had our dystopian unit, which is like depression, all the bad things going on in the world currently. And then we have a portal that goes onto the utopia, where it's like things are better and then becomes a bright side. Personally, to me, the mural was like one thing that it was like, it felt nice to have the community come out and come all together to do it. As you see, we have handprints in the bottom corner over there. We had kids do handprints. We had adults, teens. It was really fun. I'd like to thank Joel, Art Illusion, Art Station, and Police Department and City of Bloomington for like giving us this really good opportunity.
So shout out to the amazing Terry Cannon of Western Avenue for her participation in the concluding performance as well. So again, what's amazing about this particular project, right, is that it's still living. So folks can go and view this mural and continue to engage with it and continue to be inspired, right, to think about the original vision and purpose of the mural and have those conversations with themselves and other community members. So keeping the trend going of collaborations with community, we did celebrate the 1-year anniversary of our building and grounds in September of 2022. And to do this, we partnered with Conexiones Latinas and Latinos en Blono. Our anniversary happened to fall within Latinx Heritage Month. And so this seems like a really amazing opportunity to, again, elevate and partner with a fellow community organization, even as we were celebrating something, a milestone very specific to IAS. And so this was another opportunity for us to reintroduce ourselves to the community, bring folks in, see how the building has held up with a year of art making, and get excited about all that is to come. We also used it as an opportunity to commission original works of art inspired. And so we have an original watercolor created by Eileen Bachman, which prints are available so people can take a little piece of IAS away with them when they visit us, and actually a video animation inspired by the mural project in the summer. So again, just kind of keeping that dialogue going with the artworks that we're creating and the community relationships that we're fostering. So as I mentioned, and as Joey has mentioned as well, we are, almost first and foremost an outreach organization still to this day. And so I'll let Joey talk a little bit about our ITSE Arts on Location programming, as well as our Art Perspectives programming in collaboration with Boys and Girls Club.
So ITSE Arts on Location is kind of our flagship program. That's the first thing that we did when we started. Those were the first kids that we interacted with. We started at just libraries, Normal Public and Bloomington Public Libraries, which we love and will continue to go and see as often as humanly possible, to be perfectly honest with you. But now this program has kind of morphed and transformed, and now we're able to bring it to some of our local preschools. So right now we're at Milestones Early Learning Center. We are at Brigham Elementary, and we are at Children's Home and Aid at Scott Early Learning Center. When we go there, we're looking at, or we're visiting with 3- and 4-year-olds, and some of them are turning 5, and we'll just pretend that they're still 4 because they're still quite close to 4. And we're doing art with them. We're expanding into different types of materials. A lot of these kids are already used to using watercolor, and they're used to using crayons, but they're not necessarily used to some of the other things that we're bringing. We're bringing tempera paint sticks. We are bringing model magic. We're bringing extra things like pipe cleaners and things to push into the model magic, and we're asking them important questions about what they already know and giving them information through the visual arts about emotions. And so we're asking them to think about things like, you know what happy looks like, you know what it feels like when you feel happy, but how do you know that somebody else is feeling happy? Are there things that can indicate that for you? How do you support somebody who's feeling sad? What can you do together to feel calm? Those kinds of things. We're asking those questions, and we're showing sometimes really famous artworks, and sometimes we're looking at artworks that maybe they haven't ever seen before. And I'm asking them to identify the things that they're seeing. I'm asking them to identify the colors that they're seeing, and asking if they associate those colors with emotions, and oftentimes they do. We're learning lots of interesting things, like if you're in a pandemic and everyone's wearing a mask, can you ask the kids, what does happy look like? They all talk about eyebrows, which was exciting. I did not know that that was what was going to happen. And then it became a theme throughout that they were always going to talk about eyebrows. And so now I know a whole lot more about what your eyebrows say when you are sad, which is exciting. We also have a great program called Art Perspectives. Art Perspectives is at the Boys and Girls Club. We're at their clubhouse looking at kids that are between kindergarten and 5th grade, and we're bringing them visual arts programming every week on Fridays for, I think it's 20 weeks total, which is the same amount of time as It's the Arts on Location is 20 weeks. And we're bringing them different materials. We're asking them specifically about the elements and principles of design. So elements of art and principles of design. So we're showing them how an artist is using those, asking them to identify that, and then we're asking them to make artwork based off of what they've learned and their own interpretation. And that is done. Yeah, there's a good picture. So this is a model magic day. I think Hannah went on this day, which was a blessing for our GA there, I'm sure. This is GA led. So graduate assistant led. They come in, they are responsible for preparing the program. They have to write a lesson plan that I do beforehand to ensure that, yes, they are talking about that elementary principle in a way that I think that the kids are going to understand. They will prepare the materials and then bring them. We also have students from the art education department that are coming for more observation hours. So they're coming in, they're using their own intelligence to and the things that they've learned to help the kids through what they're learning, so that it's able to, I guess, kind of compact more of what we're trying to get the kids to understand. And we are surveying the kids and asking them, what do you know about this that you didn't know earlier? And we're getting some fun results for that as well. We also have our classes that are happening inside the building. So March has been the busiest month for classes in some time, which is exciting. Our Art After 3 class is over full, actually. I forgot to close the site up. So we have a couple extra kiddos in there, but it's exciting because it's that popular. Kids are coming in and they are excited to be there. They come in the side of the door and they already want to know what they're doing and they don't want to leave. We kind of have to push a couple of them out the door at the end of the night because after 2 hours, we need to clean up and they just don't want to stop, which is exciting. So pictured here is a couple of our kids from that class, the Art After 3 class. That's on Thursdays for kids that are in kindergarten through 5th grade. We also have a homeschool class that happens on Fridays, and that is for, I think we had like 7 to 14, which is a large age group, but a lot of the kids that are in there are sibling sets. And so they are able to kind of help one another through things. And also with any of our classes, everyone performs to their best ability. We're not grading anybody. So the pressure to perform exactly as you think the art instructor is asking you to isn't really there. We're asking you to expand on what you know, what you're excited about, and your own identity through your art. And that's not something that we're willing and wanting to grade. We also have our ITSY program, which is a lot like ITSY on location, but it is longer. It's a whole hour. It's on Fridays. You get to come and participate with your parent. If you are 3 to 5, you get to hang out with us, do at least 3 different things. We often read a little section of a story to kind of help with the understanding of what the themes we're looking at are. And it's really about exploration of materials. You get to try out new things and make new stuff, and you get to make messes, and mom's not going to be mad because you did it somewhere else and they're going to clean it up for you. We also have an older program for for arts in action. It's for kids that are a little bit older, and we're hoping to expand that a little more this fall.
Excellent. Yes, did not mean to advance. It was just
That's okay.
inspired by the making messes that other folks don't have to clean up, right? Is also part of what our Saturdays at the station is all about. So this is our drop-in art making. So again, in case you're watching this presentation wearing multiple hats, and maybe the guardian of a young artist is one of those, Saturdays at the station is a really awesome opportunity to just kind of check us out. There's no pre-registration required. Open every Saturday from 10 to 2, barring any festivals or special events that demand our attention. And we like to drive traffic to Uptown whenever we can. So there's some of the pictures up there too. But every 4th Saturday is free to the general public thanks to the Town of Normal Harmon Arts Grant. Saturdays are also the days that we host birthday parties in the afternoon. We do other community collaborations. So that middle picture up there is with Autism McLean very recently, painting birdhouses for the Constitution Trail at our location. And then, as I mentioned, any festival, not just Uptown, but anywhere throughout Central Illinois that we can be a part of, we're always excited to do that as well. So we really encourage you to check us out on a Saturday if you can. Saturdays are an amazing opportunity to visit our rotating gallery space. So the same gallery space that hosted our Empowerment Through Art Campers exhibit currently hosts the artwork of Starlight Jackson, who is our first guest artist of 2023. Our gallery space is really designed to elevate and showcase the work of our young artists that's created on site and through our programming, but also relevant practicing artists who are creating work that's really going to resonate and inspire our young artists as well. And so this was an exciting collaboration and kind of the first experiment for us so that we can model future guest artist collaborations on it. So you can look forward to other opportunities in the future to engage in those artworks. And a little tease, we're still formulating the full plan, but May is Mental Health Awareness Month, right? And we are really privileged to participate in a statewide project known as the Resiliency Collective. And this is a project of the Illinois Association of Museums in partnership with NAMI Illinois and funded by Illinois Humanities. And so again, Illinois Art Station is the only downstate location to be participating in this. And each participating location was tasked with creating an exhibit, an in-person program, as well as a virtual program around this idea of kind of collective healing and collective reconciliation with what we as a society have experienced essentially since 2020, right? So that includes COVID, that includes the social and racial reckoning that we've all been participating in. And so the ways that we engage with this content was up to the organizations themselves, so that they knew that we would be reflecting the communities that we serve. And so this is a little bit, again, of a sneak peek at our 3 years and 3 lines. This will be a collecting effort that will look to engage all members of the community in different ways, providing visual lines as well as written lines in the form of poetry and haiku, as we all reflect on our last 3 years, or reflect on our past, present, and a hopeful future. And so definitely we'll be looking to share information about this through our partnering organizations, so that we can get as many community members and artists of all ages engaged in this project in May. So then, again, we're all in good company. This isn't necessarily an ask to those who are on this call, but it is just an acknowledgement that Illinois Art Station, we're in our first 5 years of existence as a nonprofit. We're in a time and a space, right, where the future of arts education and extracurriculars in our local schools is uncertain. And so as a small organization dedicated to the visual arts exposure and education for our students and their families, we're just looking to plan ahead for the tasks, that might await, and always willing to do our most to help make space for art and fill the space that might exist here in the future. And so at that, we will go ahead and wrap it up. And thank you so much for your time and attention today.
That's wonderful. There is so much going on at the Art Station. If you have not been, I do encourage you to go. It's a beautiful space and a great resource for our community. And Joey, very creative. It must be why I'm reading a book rather than writing a book. I don't have it in me. So thank you for your work you're doing there. That's great.
You have it in you. You gotta flex it. You can do
Okay.
it.
Okay. I'll trust you. So if you'll look in the chat, there's a couple of people that did not have updates. If you have to leave early or you don't have updates, you can put your updates in the chat if you have some. I'm going to call on people, but if I don't get to you, please put your name in the chat. I want you to, if Shannon, Hannah and Joey, if you guys would put your contact information in the chat, we do save the chat and send it out with our meeting recording so that everybody that missed it can see the presentation and get back with you. All right, so I'm just going to tell you that from the library for short-arm parking, please call us. We will put things on hold. You can drive up and pick them up. We have actually 5 parking spaces in our parking lot, and that's it. The rest of the street parking is being taken up by construction workers. I have to park 2 blocks away. So, and then the bookmobile is always open for you. Let me see, Barb, did you have something? Thanks for joining us.
Sure. Thank you for having me. So I'm Barb Broblovi. I'm a community health specialist at Chestnut, and I'm working on ROSC, which stands for Recovery Oriented Systems of Care. So I'm helping out with McLean County. I do Livingston and Ford County as well. So we do have a few things going on with McLean County ROSC. I just want to share, and if I think you said I could send emails to Shannon possibly to share flyers. Is that correct?
Yes,
okay,
please do.
Okay, so we have sober social things going on. Our first is this Friday, actually, St. Patty's Day. It's a free bowling and billiards at ISU, bowling and billiards center. So we'll have bowling, and you can play pool and just kind of hang out from 5 to 8, and it's free. And I will be sending flyers on that. And we have another one on April 21st.
If there is something that you put in the chat, like a link to that would be great too.
Okay, sure. Yeah, our Facebook definitely has all that information. We also have a free Monday Tai Cheese starting April 24th, May 1st, May 8th, and that's going to be at the Junction, which is right with Home Sweet Home. And then we will be starting a clothing drive, professional clothing drive, the month of April. And I'll have more information on that, drop off locations and things like that. So that's about it for now. But I loved this. I always see the art center, and I'm thinking that is so cool. It looks so cool. So I would love to somehow collaborate. We'll get together. But anyway, that's
great. I love to hear all the things that are happening in real life again. So Alicia, did you drop off? You may have, so sorry. Ben? I think we lost Ben too. Chris?
Hello.
Hi.
Yep. Nothing that I can really think of to report at Path here. So
Okay.
we're still answering calls, homeless services, all the standard stuff.
That's great. Thank you. Darla? Faith in action.
Hello. We are still seeking volunteers. That's kind of an ongoing thing. But I want to let everyone know that in addition to volunteers, we're looking for funding opportunities. And Fannie Mae Candy is going to give us 30% of all their sales on Friday, the 24th of March. And I will email the flyer that you need to either have on your phone to show or take into the store. We thought this is a perfect weekend to buy Easter candy and things like that. So we would appreciate that support.
Always looking for an excuse to buy candy.
I
that's
know
good.
it's a very good reason to go in Fannie Mae and get whatever you want.
That's right.
Thank you.
Sure. And then Hillary is going to tell us, I went to her ribbon cutting, so tell us more about your One Hope project.
Yes, thank you, Michelle, for coming. I never did get to make it around to see you, but I
It was
really
a full
talked to you.
house.
I gave
Full
you a hug. I
house.
think that was it. But yeah, so I'm Hillary Pasha, the founder executive director of One Hope Project, and we recently had our ribbon cutting and it was a full house. I was told that as I was talking and before we could actually cut the ribbon, there was people out in down the hall and out in the landing by the doors to get in. They couldn't even make it in yet to it. So that was very exciting. I will say my son made it at the last minute just to get the ribbon cutting. So that made my mama heart proud and tear up a bit too. So, but it was great. We've been seeing clients for a little while now, but really that was kind of our way of just putting ourselves out there really now to the community because our space is up and going. Michelle, I don't know if you got to actually go through and take a tour, but
yes,
pretty proud of it.
yes.
I'm not like a decorator or anything like that. So I had a lot of people come in and tell me, I just listened to what people told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we're really trying to get out there now. We are getting a lot of referrals, but please refer anyone who you feel is appropriate for services. Somebody does not have to have a diagnosis, an actual diagnosis of an eating disorder to receive services. They could, we believe there's kind of a spectrum. So if somebody has unhealthy body image issues or disordered eating habits, they're at risk for an eating disorder. So just please send them our way. We'll hopefully be doing some more support groups starting this summer on site. We've been partnering with Heartland. We've done 2 support groups there, but we're also looking to do some here on site. We'll have a golf outing in August. So more, we're putting some final touches on that, but I'll hopefully by our next meeting have more information. And then just as a side note, and I'll be quiet, I also do some side work for a cost reduction company. It's the biggest one in Northwest or North America, based out of Canada, but help for-profit and nonprofits with essentially a free cost reduction analysis. So if your business is looking to save money and find ways to reduce costs, just send me an email and I'll hook you up. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Hillary. And sorry, there's so much in the chat. Please make sure that you check that out too. Jessica, did you have something? We think we lost her too. So Liz put something in the chat. Laura, did you have something? Did I miss that?
I did not put anything in the chat, but I can just chat
go
verbally.
ahead. Yes, please.
Fun fact that Hillary is my neighbor and she she helped me start a nonprofit in terms of like loaning me books and letting me know the process. But I am the founder of Thrive Housing here in town. Our goal is to increase access to affordable housing here in Bloomington Normal. So if anyone knows of a property that might make a good place, or if you are a nonprofit looking to house your clients and have your eye on a particular property, we want to do the housing and let you do the services.
That's awesome. It's a great service, greatly needed in this time of high rent and everything. Lynn Dillon.
Hi, everybody. I'm a family coordinator at Parkside Elementary School. So what I'm just reaching out to you all, I said in the group chat, are maybe some programs that our low-income families could participate in this summer. So that's wonderful information about the arts today. I really enjoyed your presentation. You guys did a fabulous job. And that's all I have.
Okay. And then, oh, I'm gonna look now. No, Mitchell. Okay. Patty.
Hi, everyone. My name is Patty Fountain. I am a case manager with the Butterfly Project out of Children's Home and Aid. So we service individuals in the county who've been exposed to domestic violence. We kind of differ in that our program is the healing aspect of it. So domestic violence must be considered over, and I do put that in quotation marks, right? Because it's a long healing process, but we work to rebuild attachment between child and safe caregiver. And we are always looking for referrals. So I can go ahead and send our referral over, as well as the flyer about our program. We will be having a diaper drive in town sometime in April. I don't have specific information about that yet, but basically we get all of our different programs that come out. So the last time we had diapers, clothing, we do car seat checks. So just kind of a quick drive and go event for families from like 3 to 6 in the evening. So that's an option for them. That will be early April, but as soon as we get more information, I will send that along as well. And the last thing is our name will be changing, but our programs and our services will not. So be on the lookout for a new name from us here shortly.
Interesting. Thank you. And Rachel.
I don't have anything today.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. And Sam and Shannon, thanks for coming. I saw you put in the chat you didn't have anything. And then Teresa. Mayor's Manor doesn't have any updates either. So thank you so much, Art Station, for coming out. We really appreciate it. That was a lot of information. You guys are doing such great things in the community. I love all of the collaboration that you're doing. And when we have our new space, we want to be #1 in your collaboration books. So at the library. Yes, Courtney.
I have an
Sorry.
update.
Sorry. Oh my
No
goodness.
problem. I just want to let you guys know, Courtney Crossan, I own the Healing Collective in downtown Bloomington. We start our trauma-focused restorative yoga classes this coming Tuesday, so a week from today, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. So if you feel a little itchy, you want to check it out, I'll put the website address in the chat for you to look at the website and see if you want to join.
Yes. And I was going to say also, Courtney is very kind and is leaving the Zoom room open. We usually stay after for a few minutes. You can, we'll be there till about 12:30 is the latest that we'll stay. But if you want to stay on and just chat, we won't be recording. It's just a fun time. So it's up to you. But otherwise, have a great week, and we'll see you soon with more updates.
Yeah.
So
Can I just put in a plug that I went into the Art Station for a bao and dumpling making class, and it's a beautiful space and it's beautiful campus area and highly recommend.
Yes.
Well,
Yes, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, this is our little group. Courtney, do you want to stop the recording for us, please?